You're listening to the Brian Donahue Podcast, a production of Trekkie Jesus, boldly going into the farthest reaches of the galaxy with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Trekkie Jesus is an online community for Trekkies who love Jesus to talk all things Trek, their faith, and everything in between. Join me and special guests from around the world as we engage in relevant discussions about Trekkie Jesus. Let's get ready to fly and boldly go right now. And welcome to the Brian Donahue Podcast. I'm your host, Pastor Brian, and I am super excited that you have chosen to spend a few minutes with me today. I'm also pretty humble about it because out of all the podcasts that exist in the world, you chose to click on this one, at least for a minute or two. And I just want to say thank you for that. Make sure you share, subscribe, like, all that good stuff on all the platforms. And today we're actually going to start the show off with your and mine favorite segment. At least I think it's your favorite segment. I know it's mine. And it's called Why the Heck Is This Your Favorite Episode? The portion of our show where we bring in one lucky fan to get their 10 minutes of fame discussing their most favorite Star Trek episode of all time. Today I've got a very special guest, a friend I've met from Trek Long Island. He's a fellow podcaster, and I'll let you talk about, he's got, what he got, like 50 podcasts something like that?
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And it's ironic because I just realized my name is still First Presbyterian Church. I'm the media director of a church in Newark, New Jersey, and I still haven't figured out how to change the name when I'm not doing work for the church. So
right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard his voice. Let's welcome Joe Pombo to the podcast. How you doing, Joe?
What's going on, Brian? I'm so happy to be here, and it's a blessing to share some time with you, not only as a Trek fan, but as a man of faith, and it's an absolute honor. Yeah. So I'm very glad to be here. I am the co-host of several different podcasts. I have Captain's Quadrant, which is the Star Trek one, which is a lot of fun with Jason Roy Gaston of TikTok fame, and VHS Jace is our producer. He's over in Australia. He pops in sometimes. And we're doing a whole bit on wormholes right now. So that's our sub-series. Ooh. And this is where we dive into other fandoms, where we go. We just did Firefly, and we're going to be doing the Orville.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like a couple of different shows in one space. And then over on the 2BScene channel, that's the number 2, BESCENE, we're doing 4 things there. We're doing Shedding Light. Shedding Light is an after TV show. We did Ghosts and Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Upcoming, we're doing Spilling the Comic Book Tea, where we're getting into the darker world of what goes on behind the scenes of comic creation. And then Wild Wild Web, where we just stumble on wild videos on the internet and share them with you and comment. So lots of fun in both places.
Nice. I love it, man. And I'm glad you mentioned you're a man of faith, and that's one way we have connected recently. Mm-hmm. And as I've started doing some Trekkie Jesus stuff and talking about being a pastor and stuff, you kind of reached out to me, and I see you're very active on all this stuff here at Trekkie Jesus too, liking stuff, which I really appreciate, bro.
Of course, man.
And I also got to say, like, just your content is just so rich and deep and fun. It's entertaining. You've got a mix of just everything that I like about podcasting and why I'm drawn to podcasting. So just want to give you props, my friend.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and let's get a little Trekkie, shall we? This might be some of the Trekkiest we've ever gotten on the Brian Donahue podcast. Right. I have a feeling. So, Joe, I know that you have a deep knowledge of Trek, and if you've ever listened to Joe's podcast, you know that in all the variety of shows that they cover on Captain's Quadrant in particular. But what is your favorite episode of all time? Is that even an answerable question for you as a Trekkie?
It's hard. There's 4 that I always go back and watch.
Okay, like, cool.
I can quickly just run each series and just say this one's my favorite from this one, that one.
I like it, yeah.
But the one that I love the most is always going to be A Die Is Cast from Deep Space Nine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that episode. It gets into the multi layers of Garrick. It gets into, not only his spy knowledge, his espionage, his interrogation, but it gets into his dynamic with his father, and we
Yeah.
find out that the head of the Obsidian Order was his dad.
Mm-hmm.
It gets into the other issues between him and Gul Dukat. It's a thing that has been reoccurring since his time on the show, which I find to be
Yeah.
absolutely fascinating. It gets into the inner workings of the Tal Shiar
Mm-hmm.
because they made an unholy alliance, so to speak, which is kind of funny for the show.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And it gets into how Odo's relationship with Garrick
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
became adversarial and then became a brilliant friendship.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then at Trek Long Island last year, we actually spoke with Andrew Robinson, who played Garrick, and it made me love it even more. Like I literally
Right.
watched that
Right.
again after, like I met him. So there's like the little inner. I always hide it when I'm on stage. I'm like inside, I'm going, oh my god, but
Yeah.
I'm all like,
Yeah.
hey, yeah, it's great to meet you, I'm Jim.
I'm all professional. I'm a
Yeah,
professional.
exactly.
That's how I
Exactly.
felt meeting Terry Farrell. Big
I'm
Sci-Fi got
sure.
to interview Terry Farrell on stage, and somehow they let me be one to sit next to her,
Oh,
and
smart.
I could hardly contain myself. I think I did all right,
Oh,
but
yeah, I think so.
inside I was just like you. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I might have had a crush on this woman from time to time,
Yeah, yeah,
growing up. So,
same. Yeah,
but
you're in the shared club again.
right, right. The die is cast though. That is a brilliant Deep Space Nine
It is.
episode,
It really is.
and I think I've shared this with you, Joe. DS9 is my all-time favorite
Same.
series,
Yeah.
and one of the reasons is it really went places other Treks had never gone before, literally.
Hmm.
But it was one of the canvas it painted as a whole series was ginormously bigger,
Absolutely.
in
Yeah.
my opinion, than the original Trek or Next Gen.
Totally
And
agree.
even Voyager after it, I feel like Deep Space Nine to this day just had such a vast canvas it painted with the Dominion War, with
Hmm.
its depth of character development. It was so good. And
Yeah.
I'm really excited new fans are finding it now.
Yeah, that's true. With the onset of the Starfleet Academy, I think Sirius Mill, where we had Sam's character trying to find Cisco, what happened to
Yes,
Benjamin
yes.
Cisco.
Oh,
I think
so
that
good.
that made younger fans go, well, who's Benjamin Cisco if they don't already know? And they go dive into the realm of Deep Space Nine, and boy, are they in for a treat
Yeah.
because I mean, every character had so much to him. And that's what I love about Star Trek is that you don't just get like, okay, I'm the good guy, here we go, or
Yeah.
I'm the bad
Yeah.
guy, here we go. Gul Dukat had
Hmm.
so many, even though he was the main villain, but he had so many layers to him.
Hmm.
And just like Garrick, there was even the characters that were just reoccurring. Brunt, every
Yeah.
version that
Yeah.
Jeffrey
Yeah.
Combs
Yeah.
played, Brunt and everything else, they had a dynamic to them that was more than just a face value. And that's
Mhm.
what made Deep Space Nine so special. And that's why I think when you go back and watch this episode, you're going to really appreciate everything that came out of it. And it
Yeah.
also, there's a scripture I'm sure you remember there will be wars and there will be rumors of wars.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what happened with Star Trek. We've always heard, okay, there was the Klingon War, the Romulan War,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
War of Attrition, and then the Cardassian War. We never got to actually see any of those things.
Hmm.
And with the technology that was available at the time, this is the first time we actually got to see a full scale battle in space. It's usually just two ships battling out. It's an old school
Right.
like
Right.
submarine battle,
Yeah. Yeah.
spy versus spy type of thing. But this was a full scale like onslaught. And then you got another reason why this is one of my favorite episodes. Then you got the one step ahead of the changelings. And I don't want to ruin it for people, but it is a
Hmm.
30-year-old show. So I think I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
when it came to it, the Tal Shiar and the Obsidian Order came together to go and obliterate the founders because they feel like the Dominion threat was a big deal. So they
Yeah.
said, let's just nip it in the bud. We're going to do what nobody else could. We're just going to wipe them out and call it a
Hmm.
day. And it turns out they had infiltrated, the changelings had infiltrated all the areas of the spy networks for both empires. And they
Hmm.
were a step ahead and they go and they shoot. And I'll never forget we have a Nobran Tain when the die is cast opens up and they're like, what do you mean? Everybody, there's nothing there. It's like, what do you mean there's nothing there? And then you find out that the Romulan that he teamed up with was the changeling and was like, no changeling has
Yeah.
ever heard another changeling. So Odo, you got to get going. it was just incredible. It's like, oh man, they were
Yeah.
really, really in the networks and just 3 steps ahead of everybody.
I don't know. I remember D Space Nine getting super super good before Worf came
Hmm.
on. Worf like took everything to another level for sure.
Right.
I love they made the Klingons bad guys again, at least for a
Hmm.
while. I thought it was a great move, brilliant move for D Space Nine. But in actuality, the show was already solid.
It was.
It
It
was
really
so
was.
good. Season three really turned a page
Hmm.
for me, at least. And a lot of that was adding the Dominion,
Yeah.
adding the Jem'Hadar and the Defiant too, right? Well, I
Right.
guess that was probably was that season four, The Way of the
No,
Warrior,
that
when
was
we
season
first saw.
three. That
Oh,
was
it was
season three.
season three.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it was already a brilliant show in my opinion. And even though Worf added a ton, and I loved it, Worf's one of my faves. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Um, but that Dominion War and that two-part episode that included the Dias cast, just it was so the space battles were like nothing we've ever seen
Incredible.
either.
Yeah.
It was just, it was every bit, it was just epic for television at the time. I remember
Right.
watching it the first time it ran, first
Hmm.
time I saw it on channel 43 WUAB out of Cleveland, Ohio, going, holy crap. And people don't like this show? Like,
Yeah, that was
you kidding
wild to
me?
me. Yeah. Yeah, it
Unbelievable.
was on a I was on another level, but at the same time, it was the whole heart of Trek because
Yeah.
you're experiencing all these new lives and new civilizations,
Hmm.
and they were boldly going where no one had gone before because they were exploring things that no Trek show had ever gone into.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you got a little bit of understanding in TNG about the Cardassians and how they were spies
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
how the network kind of worked, and they had to infiltrate the Cardassian hierarchy, and then Picard got caught. You had that,
Right,
which is a
right.
great episode, the infamous "There are 4 lights," and he's like
Hmm.
pittily walking away. But this one really got into how vast these spire networks are
Yeah.
and how impressive the ships were. Because Cardassian ships, you thought, oh, they kind of look like just flying lizards. There's
Yep.
nothing
Yep.
really special about them. And then you see this giant disruptor just like, and this huge disruptor array just take over half the screen. You're like, oh my God,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
never really got to see what these ships could really do because it was always like, and when the Cardassians and the Federation in the past had met, they never really fought. It was always like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was an
Yeah.
ambiguous
Yep.
tit for tat of intelligence rather than fisticuffs or lasers. So it
Right.
was really impressive to see how powerful those ships actually are.
Yeah, it was. And just the epic scale. I know you talked about the next gen, kind of touching on it. The Wounded is one of my all time favorite next gen episodes, which is a
Hmm.
Cardassian heavy episode with Miles O'Brien. So that was kind
Right?
of interesting. They made the Cardassians the heavies, and originally with Deep Space Nine, with Miles O'Brien being there.
Yeah.
Um, but they're fascinating alien species in contrast to humans.
Hmm.
But what I love about Trek is that really the aliens we see, quote unquote, are oftentimes really just a mirror for our own humanity.
Yeah.
And either things we have overcome or desire to overcome,
Very
in the
true.
story. In D Space Nine, for sure, just one of the reasons I love it and am drawn to it as a Christian is that there is redeeming qualities in even sometimes the quote unquote bad guys, right?
Hmm.
Like there is a path, and sometimes they take it, other times they don't. Like with Gul Dukat, we thought for a while maybe he's going to turn out good, maybe he's going to
Yeah.
kind of make recompense or whatever for the deeds of his past, sins of his past, and but in the end, of course, he turned pure
No.
evil
Went
again.
well, totally the other way. Yeah. Oh boy.
But that's one thing I love about Deep Space Nine is their character development. They really it's really all just a mirror for our own humanity,
Hmm.
and but also the ability, like if we really dig down deep, and Deep Space Nine was kind of the spiritual series, had that spiritual element with Bajor and all that stuff in it, and the prophets and Cisco being
The
the
emissary.
emissary.
Yeah.
But I was drawn to that not just because of the spiritual side, but just like these characters actually developed. They learned. They made mistakes. They were human. Sometimes they made really bad mistakes, even.
Mm-hmm.
But the writers did such a beautiful job of bringing in just enough of that redemption also, like, hey, we can overcome
Right.
this. We can still work together. We can, all those things we love about Trek too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was just so much layers. So it's like if you think about it, it's like a cake.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you
Yeah.
have your surface, your dressing is the, Star Trek idiom, but then you have all these different layers and each of
Hmm.
them are characters. The characters are not perfect, which I love. You're not having a bunch of
Hmm.
supermen and women running around. I'm the
Yeah.
perfect idiom.
Right.
You have
Right.
Cisco, who is so layered that he actually breaks his codes
Hmm.
and realizes it's okay because the Dominion threat was so massive. They didn't want to risk not getting other
Yeah.
empires involved to kind of take on the Dominion. He ends up assassinating someone, having ironically Garrick again to it,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
falsifying documents, committing murder. I just was blown away by everything they
Mm,
did in this show.
mm. It was fantastic. Well, Joe, really great choice.
Thank you.
And I kind of figured you'd have a D Space Nine favorite, but you never know. Next Gen could sneak in there or
You know what's
whatever.
funny?
So
One of my top fours is Star Trek Prodigy Supernova, parts one and two.
really,
Yeah, that's
okay,
another one that ironically,
cool.
because I feel like it answers the question that we had from Picard's, like, oh, when they went on the D, hey, I would have preferred, Worf says, I'm going back to Worf, I would have preferred the weapons and phaser banks on the E. And it's like, yeah, well, the E's destroyed. And then Worf goes, that was not my fault. And I always, in my head, think it's because when those Sovereign classes came in at the end of Supernova and Prodigy, that was Worf as captain because the Klingons responded right after. And who has a better
Oh wow,
relationship
yeah,
with Klingons
yeah.
than Worf himself? And he's captain of the E for quite some time. So I always just put those little tethers in the universe and string them together and say, yeah, that's what happened.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, my man. Well, thank you so much for your time, Joe. It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure. And
Absolutely.
we'll have you on the show again. Maybe you can talk about some of your other favorites. I'm
Absolutely.
I'm I'm also thinking about doing like a favorite film side of this too.
Oh,
So,
that'd be fun. Yeah, for sure.
but also love to have you on and just talk about Jesus too. Talk about your
I'd
faith
love that.
and
Hmm.
what draws you on. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have Joe on the show again real soon. And once again, this has been your favorite segment of the Brian Donahue podcast. Why the heck is this your favorite Star Trek episode of all time? So I'm just sitting here in my van watching my son's baseball practice. First practice of the spring, actually, and of the season. And it's remarkable to see these young boys that are in this 9 and under baseball league run, catch, hit, practice their throwing, and then they've got 4 coaches, 5 in total, that are working with them. And they're doing typical 9 and under boy stuff when they're not actually doing anything, when they're standing in lines waiting for their turn. They're goofing off. They're pushing and shoving each other, wrestling, falling down, laughing, having a good old time. But in actuality, as the season goes on, we know that they're going to get more serious as they get a taste of either winning or losing. Both of those things can be very influential, even to 9-year-olds as they play baseball. And as they realize they like winning more than they like losing, they'll start to work harder as the season goes on. And so it's going to be really interesting to watch these kids as they are right now, see how they develop. And in actuality, with our own lives, spiritually, we can say the same thing happens for us as we grow into adulthood, as we grow as adults, learn more and more about success, about failure, and what that looks like and what that means for us and how it feels and what type of people we want to be. And even now I'm watching my son run across the field as they're doing a relay for conditioning. He is one of the slowest kids on the team, but he's also one of the hardest workers. He's one of the most coachable kids on the team. Now, he can goof off from time to time much more than I appreciate as his father watching him, because I think he goofs off a little too much. But he's coachable. He's relatable. He listens when he needs to. He might need to be brought back into order from time to time or yelled at occasionally, like any 9-year-old boy does. But he's coachable. And that's half the battle. That's something that we as Christians need to strive for continuously, is that we are coachable, even as we are adults, even as we get older. I don't see anything in the Bible that says when you get so old you don't have to grow anymore as a person. I don't see anything that says you no longer have to work and live in a polite way when you talk to other people. It's one of these great things about life that really frustrates me. And I'm just, for transparency, I'm 46 years old, so I'm 4 years away from 50. And it really frustrates me when I see older folks get grumpy and set in their ways. And when it comes to Christians now, okay? When Christians get old, grumpy, and set in their ways, and we say things like, oh, they're never going to change. Oh, it's just how they are. Why is it that we accept that in maturity? I think maturity means that or the standard for maturity, the sign of maturity, should actually mean that we get more humble the older we get, that we actually grow in our ability to be coached and to be taught. When do we see in the Bible any type of sign or teaching or lesson on when you get to be a certain age, you no longer have to listen, you no longer have to care, the world has to conform to you? I don't see it. And honestly, even the whole adolescent thing in the Bible is not there very strongly at all. It might be perhaps lingered or peppered in occasionally. I don't know. I can't think of anything. But I do know that we, at least in America, we're very easy on our kids and our teens. And what the Bible would call sin and rebellion, we call adolescence. We say every kid has to do this and go through this. And I say the Bible is here for a reason. I say that we need to teach our kids how to be coachable. We need to teach our kids how to listen and mature. In the point of all this, I think, for me, as I'm watching my son do his conditioning here for baseball, he's got a smile on his face. He's having fun. He's exhausted. He's tired. He's going to go to bed and be ready for bed tonight. He's going to fall asleep pretty quickly, I think, which is awesome for his mother and I. We might even get a little bit earlier bedtime this evening, which is, every parent's dream. Get the kids down as soon as possible so we can veg out and watch our shows or go to bed early ourselves, perhaps. But to see my son do this with a smile on his face, working hard, finding success at times and failing at times, it's all part of life, and he's doing it with a smile. And I say to us today, whether you're old or young or somewhere in the middle, do it with a smile. Stay coachable. Keep listening to others. Always be a learner. Never act like you have arrived fully and that you cannot be taught anything new. And reject the lie that I think is from the devil that says when you reach a certain age, you no longer have to listen or care, that people should just listen to you, that you've earned the right to speak your mind, even if it's mean and nasty and rude and inappropriate. That is a lie. That is not the Christian life. That is not how we should live as Christians. We need to be setting the example for younger generations after us on how to live as older people. We need to be showing humility. Even now, me as 46-year-old, I need to be showing my son how to live as a 46-year-old man. I need to teach him how to walk in gentleness and humility and how to be faithful, how to be a man of his word. I need to teach him how to have a good work ethic. I need to show him what it's like to admit when you're wrong. I need to show him what it's like to apologize and to ask for forgiveness and what that looks like and what that should mean. And we need to practice this. Paul says in Philippians 4 that whatever you have seen in me or heard in me, put these things into practice. And we need to practice, just like my son right now is practicing baseball. We need to practice. In order for him to get better at baseball, he has to show up to practices. He has to practice when there's not practice. We've got to be throwing the ball out back and forth in the driveway, working on his swing, working on his catching and his throwing. It takes practice. And so let's be those kinds of people. Let's be men and women who teach younger generations what it is to be humble, what it is to continually be learning, continually be growing, and never act like we know it all. There's only one person in the history of the universe that knows it all, and his name is Jesus. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to this thought today. I'm Pastor Brian. This is Trekking Jesus.
My heart is heavy as I look around the world. People are hurting, even the boys and little girls. My sons and daughters deserve much more than this. We must rise up, make a change today. Let them hear us say we're a family. We must hold on to the ones we love and thank God above for the air we breathe. It's time we think like a family, make a new reality. My heart is grieving for the homeless ones tonight. The children see it while their parents walk on by. Our friends and neighbors deserve much more than this. We must rise up, make a change today. Let them hear us say we're a family. Come on, lift it up. We must hold on. We must hold on to the ones we love and thank God above for the air we breathe. Come on, if you believe this, lift it up. We must rise up, make a change today. Let them hear us say we're a family. Oh yeah, oh yeah. We must hold on to the ones we love and thank God above for the air we breathe. It's time we think like a family, make a new reality. I don't have all the answers, but something happens when we work together. Maybe change will come much faster if we open our hearts to each other. I think it's time to learn what it's like to really like a family, make a new reality.